hope the Eagles show up this week. Just let me give you a little gold star, pat on the back, and give me some good effort. Because I can't watch what I saw last weekend against the Cincinnati Bengals being down 29-0 in the third quarter to a team without A.J. Green. Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. Time right now in the Princeton Orthopedic Associates Studios, 5:15. We're powered by Corona Light today. Now joining us is someone that always brings it. I could give him a gold star for every time he comes on this show because he always gives good effort, and that's Marc Farzetta from 94 WIP and the 700 level. Farzy, what's happening, my man?
You know, I think my mother still has every E for effort certificate I got in grade school because Lord knows I wasn't getting any good grades to bring home. So I always got, hey, good try.
You know what? Usually I'm not for that. And when when I was playing baseball as a little leaguer, and they would give you a participation trophy for finishing in last place, and they'd be like, oh, you finished in 10th place. Here's the 10th place trophy. Usually I'm not for that, but that's the point we got here with the Eagles. But by the way, Farzy, because I was an intern for you guys at Sports Radio 94 WIP, and now for some reason they thought it was a good idea to give me interns. My intern Kevin was talking to you in between the break, and he came in there and he goes, I only talked to the guy for 10 seconds, but I got to grab a beer with that guy. So you dropped some serious knowledge when the call screener picks you up, Farzy.
I think it was just, again, my E for effort. I think it's, you know, when I was 10 years old, my grandfather called me let me clean this up for radio.
Yeah, my finger's on the jump button, so be careful.
Yeah. A bull bleep artist. So you fill in the blank.
Yeah, you know, it makes sense seeing the way you work. Just kidding. Farzy, though, real quickly, though, because we had a crazy day trying to do this show. We went to Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown, and then the connection. You always know sometimes when you get a remotes, there's always one time the connection drops out about 10 minutes before the show. And I'm 20 minutes from Chickies and Pete's, and I had to rush back here. And, of course, I was a law-abiding citizen and made sure that I did not go over the speed limit or anything like that. And I got back to the studio in time for the show. I think I was about like a minute or two late. Let me ask you, though, because you've been doing this a lot longer than me. Craziest remote experience where something went wrong for you?
It was the time in my career, and this is easy, the time in my career where I was saying yes to absolutely everything, and that included being a remote producer for a day. For Glenn Macnow and Ray Didinger at Slack's Hoagie Shack in somewhere in Northeast Philly. I don't remember. I think it was on Cottman. If they had one on Cottman, it was up there. And nothing worked. And I was panicked. I did everything. You know me. I got there 3 hours ahead of time.
Good effort.
I did a test. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Did everything 3 hours ahead of time. Test run at the studio. Make sure everything worked at the studio. Go out. Do the event. Get everything ready. Get everything set up. Glenn and Ray show up. They start doing their show prep. And the line wouldn't connect. It connected when I showed up, and it wouldn't connect at the start of the show. So I call, the great Ben Hill, engineer extraordinaire, and he rushes over and, much to my relief, tells me there was nothing I could have done. And here I am panicked thinking it's me.
So I know Ray Didinger. He never gets mad, and I've had Macnow on the show before. What were they like when that was going on? Were they yelling at you? Didinger wasn't, but was Macnow yelling?
No, they got free hoagies. They didn't care. They were eating. However long it took me to get it on the air, it didn't matter because that was just less time they had to work. Well, at least Glenn and Ray basically enjoyed more free hoagies that day.
Marc Farzetta with us right now. All right, Farzy, effort. It's been the big topic of conversation this week and also on this show. Did the Eagles show up this week, or is it going to be another ugly performance?
As much as I want to say they're going to show up in front of the hometown crowd, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think a team that has once lost that edge can ever regain it within the same season. And normally I would be up in arms saying these athletes are being paid so much money to go out there and give it the old college try. You know, but if Doug Peterson was my head coach and I'm Malcolm Jenkins or I'm Fletcher Cox, and Fletcher Cox still a young guy but still a veteran on this team. You're in the league 3-4 years nowadays. You're a veteran. And he wants to say after their loss Monday night against the Packers, hey, you want to look at wins and losses. I have to look at potential. If I'm Fletcher Cox, if I'm Malcolm J, if I'm Darren Sproles, I'm saying, excuse me, I'm playing with a broken freaking rib, and you want to talk about potential? No. I'm here to win, and I'm here to win now. So once a coach comes out and says that, especially after he even set the bar so high at the start of the season, and I'm not talking about that stupid cliche, oh, he's a victim of his own success. No. You have a quarterback that you pointed out at the start of the year that, oh, this guy's like Jim Kelly. This guy's like Brett Favre. This guy prepares, it's Peyton Manning-ish. Once you go out of the way and say all that stuff, you're not talking about potential anymore. You're talking about winning right now. And just because you lose a string of games doesn't mean that should change the game plan. And that's exactly what Doug Peterson did to his players following that Monday night game. I'm not shocked in the least. I'm not surprised in the least that was the effort they gave in Cincinnati.
And really, he's not a good communicator, and he comes off very awkward in these press conferences. Even this week, the effort comment on Monday, it took to about like the third or fourth question about effort for him to finally change his tune. It gives off the impression that he's just very lost. And when you have a team that starts out 3-0, everyone gets behind you, and then you show up like this, people are going to be harsh on him, and they're going to be critical, as they should, as he just looked clueless this year as a head coach at time. I'm not saying fire the guy. I think that's ridiculous right now. But my question this week, whenever we talk Eagles with people, what does this guy do well, Farzetta?
That's a great question.
Because every answer,
I don't know.
it's oh, he prepares well, or oh, he's a nice guy. Those are a bunch of BS answers to me.
I don't see where he prepares well comes in. I mean, to me, here's another cliche for you. It's a game of adjustments. Doug Peterson came in first 3, 4, 5 weeks of the season, looked good, looked like he had a good game plan, right? After that, the league adjusted to him. It took the NFL a year and a half to adjust to Chip Kelly. It's taken the NFL 5 games to adjust to Doug Peterson, and he hasn't made an adjustment in return. Now, have the players made plays? No, they haven't. Have they dropped the ball, literally and figuratively, in a lot of occasions? Absolutely. But the bottom line is this. Yeah, exactly. And the bottom line is this. Their quarterback has gone from one of the best in the NFL, not just for a rookie, but one of the best in the NFL, to a guy that has looked lost and inconsistent throughout this year. And you can take away those first 3 games, first 4 games, and then you see how he's been playing over the last 7, 8 weeks. He's the worst-rated quarterback in the NFL. And that all started, that downward trend really started in that loss to the Redskins. He has not been the same guy since not only Lane Johnson went out, but Halapoulivaati Vaitai came in to start at right tackle. That was the first game he really got banged up and hit around a little bit. And that was the first game you saw, okay, wow, this guy's now playing like a rookie. He had one bad play in their first loss of the season against the Detroit Lions, which was the last play of the game. He heaved it downfield. He made a poor decision with a lot of time left on the clock. Saw single high safety, tried to air it out to Nelson Aguilar. Didn't work out, threw an interception to end the game. That was the first play I saw Carson Wentz look like a rookie. Since then, there's been a hell of a lot more of those than I like.
And when it goes down the middle of the field, he throws the ball high and it gets intercepted. But still, there's a lot of problems on this team, and it's a lack of talent right now, and they're asking the quarterback at his period of development just to do too much. They threw the ball 60 times last week. If I'm a defensive coordinator, I take away the run. The coach is taking away, their own coach is taking away the run, as you saw it in the Packers game. These next 4 games, and maybe this is the week where the quarterback goes and wins you the game because you're going up against not a very good Redskins defense. I don't know. But just what do you expect the next 4 games out of the quarterback? What would you like to see in realistic terms?
I want to see the guy play steady again. I don't want to see this erratic throwing that he's been doing over the last couple of games here. Really, again, I hate to say this, but it's more than the last couple of games. It's really those last 8 games. I've seen balls sail over guys' heads, wide open receivers. I mean, he had Dorial Green-Beckham open on a corner route, nobody around him, with all day to throw, and he airmailed it. You can talk about a rookie all you want. That's a throw you got to make. And again, it really goes back to the idea that at the beginning of the year, you're comparing him to guys in the Hall of Fame. And there's a reason why coaches should shut up about how well their quarterbacks are playing, especially when they're young. And Doug didn't do that. Frank Reich didn't do that. These were guys, and Frank Reich's been in the league a long time as a coach, not just as a player, but as a coach, unlike Doug Peterson. And they just start throwing these names out there. I thought that was unjustified for their quarterback. They needed to pump the brakes on him. And no matter who you are, if you're the most humble guy in the world or not, you hear those comparisons, you're going to start to get a false sense of security. And I'm not saying that went to his head, but it must have done something because he has not been the same quarterback since he's gotten all that praise. Really, I think what it comes down to is the play on the field and not having the protection that he needs to have. But even when he's had that protection and he's had time to throw, he's airmailed way too many.
Marc Farzetta with us right now on the Zach Gelb Show. They have to get talent around him. There's no debate about that. You don't want to see Howie Roseman, Ryan Grigson this thing like what we're seeing in Indianapolis with Andrew Luck. Where is your confidence in Howie to fix this thing?
I don't have a lot of confidence in Howie. And, it's funny. He's been around so long now. You get to know the guy a lot, and he's a good guy, and he's a guy you can root for. But I'm a bottom-line type of dude. And bottom line is, since he's had a major say in front office decisions, this team has not won a playoff game. So the proof is in the pudding. And, look, you could talk about winning off seasons and all that other stuff, but until you win a playoff game, until you show the fan base that you can put together a roster that will compete in the playoffs, you really haven't done anything yet. All you've done is move some pieces around. It's all about building something, and right now I haven't seen anything built from Howie Roseman.
Do they bring back Deshaun Jackson?
That's what all the reports are. I don't think they do it. I think it's good talk right now. I think it's something nice to kick around with sports talk radio. Thank goodness for you and I and all that stuff for that fine fodder. But when it comes down to it, I don't think they do it. At first, I thought, great idea. Let's make it happen. But he's going to be 31 years old. He's going to have speed. It's not going to be the same speed that we knew and loved here in Philadelphia. But he's not going to be the same player. He's going to be injured more than not. He's going to cost too much money. And you already have a young quarterback that you would like to see him grow with maybe another receiver. The name of the game is speed, and Deshaun Jackson has that. He still has the ability to get behind the defenses. He'll be able to do that for another 3 or 4 years. But it's just a matter of, is he going to be worth it? Is he going to be worth the headache, not just for the front office, not just for the coach, but for his own quarterback? And is he going to be worth it in terms of money for a guy that is often injured? And it's not like he's going to get more help. This isn't Steve Smith. This guy doesn't have the same competitive edge as Steve Smith, and I know that's somebody that a lot of people will compare him to. Oh, Steve Smith's still producing. Yeah, not the same mentality.
Yeah, he's been banged up a lot, too, and I know Steve Smith's been banged up recently as well, but I do agree with you on that. I think that they're going to bring him back, though. I really do believe. Marc Farzetta, though, since you do 9,000 jobs, one of them being behind the scenes for Sunday Night Football, Giants, Cowboys, give me a little feel on this game coming up Sunday.
Well, who's the other team? Who's the only team this season to beat the Cowboys? And that would be the Giants, and they took care of business on the road in Dallas. I'll be there, obviously, in North Jersey on Sunday. This is a team in the Dallas Cowboys that a lot of people in the NFC East don't want to admit to themselves how good they are. And they are really good. And I go back to this, and I said this on the 700 level show this week. You look at what's been said about Carson Wentz early in the year, not just from his coaches, not just from ex-players like Brett Favre. You listen to what the national pundits were saying about Carson Wentz and all the great things they were saying. People are still saying that about Dak Prescott. They're not saying that about Carson Wentz anymore. And that's how good Dak Prescott has played. Yes, he has a great offensive line. People don't want to acknowledge the injuries they've had on that offensive line, but still nonetheless a great O-line. He's got a great rookie playing behind him, obviously, in Ezekiel Elliott. He's got a great veteran receiver that's missed a handful of games in Dez Bryant. But this guy, Dak Prescott, has made Cole Beasley into almost a Pro Bowl wide receiver. I never thought I'd ever say that. But that's what's happened because he's that good of a quarterback. And Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, he must be one of the top guys in the NFL. I can't confirm this, but he must be one of the top guys in the NFL with yards after contact. So it's not just the offensive line blowing open holes you could drive trucks through. It's this guy getting hit behind the line of scrimmage and being strong enough and quick enough to get out of it and then still get you those extra yards. The Dallas Cowboys are absolutely for real. Flip it on the other side. Look at the other storyline with the Giants. This is around that time of year, and the Giants have started a little early as well, where the Giants all of a sudden look like a team that can make a deep playoff push. Eli Manning can look like a little baby through most of the season. The last month, he can turn it on and actually look like that guy that's a veteran and a two-time Super Bowl winner. So it's always a coin flip with the Giants, but when it comes to the end of the season, that's when they turn it on. I think that this Sunday night is going to be the best game we've had yet so far on Sunday night games so far this season. And I know that the ratings have been a big story this year. This is a game that I don't think will disappoint when it comes to the ratings. You also have some amazing players on the offensive side of the ball away from the quarterback. You also have, of course, that Odell Beckham Jr. goes without saying, made one of the best catches ever in this era of football against the Cowboys on a Sunday night. And then the other side of the ball, you look at a guy like Landon Collins, who all of a sudden
just a
like
beast.
He looks like a guy that will be competing for Defensive Player of the Year.
No question.
I mean, he's the guy that plays safety with like a middle linebacker mentality.
No JPP though.
No JPP, but this guy has the ability to flip a switch and go from linebacker to ball hawk. And he's got 5 interceptions on the season. This game, I can't wait to settle into my work area Sunday night and watch this thing.
It sounds like, and this is the big apprehension in the league, unless if you're a Cowboys fan, it sounds like Marc Farzetta thinks the Cowboys, that cockroach organization with the plastic surgery face owner, are going to the Super Bowl.
I don't put it past. Look, here's the thing. And again, this is something else we said about Carson Wentz early in the season. Oh, he stands there in the pocket in the face of adversity with a rusher coming right down the pike, and he delivers that football and takes the hit. Yeah, Dak Prescott's still doing that, and he's still doing that a hell of a lot more accurate than Carson Wentz. I love Dak Prescott coming out of Mississippi State. Thought he was a hell of a quarterback. I wanted the Eagles to take him. I didn't want them to take a quarterback early on. I wanted them to go wait in the 3rd or 4th round and take Prescott. They didn't do that, and they are paying the price for it. Hey, look, I am right 1 out of 100 times. This is the one time I was right. So let me bask in it, damn it.
Hey, so you only got to be right one time, and you can look like a genius if it's the big team that ends up winning the Super Bowl. All right, Marc Farzetta, before I let you run, because I know you're a big Temple guy just like myself. I remember one of the jobs that you used to do, you'd be at Lincoln Financial Field telling people to spell out Temple and doing all the chants at the link. Reaction to Matt Rule leaving Temple University?
I am a big Matt Rule fan. He is one of my favorite people to ever be at Temple, and I could not be more pissed off that he is no longer there. Is it the nature of the business? Yes, but I don't have to like it. I don't have to like it a little bit, and I don't. I hate it. I was on Temple's campus yesterday talking to students, trying to get their reaction, trying to gauge their reaction for the 700-level show, and they were very accepting. There were a couple of people that flat out said they were angry, but most people were pretty accepting. I'm not going to wish him well at Baylor. I'm not even going to go there because I believe Temple has taken enough steps forward to the point where it's a very attractive job, and sooner or later, hopefully in this next head coach will have somebody that will really want to stick around here for a decade. Matt Rule, I wanted to be that guy. And they even hired him because he had staying power.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it wasn't staying long enough.
But here's the thing. If we're being rational about it, and trust me, you won't find a bigger fan of Matt Rule than myself. I'm going to wish him well at Baylor, and I hope that he does deliver them a national championship. But he made a great point in his press conference the other day that we watched and listened to right here on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey, where he felt like he accomplished what he wanted to do at Temple, and that was win a conference championship. And also, really, Mark, if you look at it, at the job Temple is right now, and I think the next coach, they can consistently still be in the top 25. If you're not in a Power 5 conference, really the apex of that job is winning your conference championship and then just hoping the dominoes fall your way and you get into one of those New Year's Six Bowl, because you're not going to be in the college football playoffs. So that's why I don't have a problem with them leaving. Yes, I thought he would be here. I knew he would leave one day, but I thought he'd be here next year, so I was a little bit surprised by that. But I can't say any bad words about the man because he took this team from 2 wins to a conference champion, and also let me troll a lot of people on Twitter that usually bash Temple.
Well, let me say this. You're not saying anything that's wrong. You just put forth a wonderful, logical argument, and I don't have to agree with one damn word you had to say.
Well, you know what? At least we both gave good effort on the show today. Marc Farzetta, appreciate the time. You are always great. Enjoy the game coming up on Sunday, and say hello to Angela for me and all the guys at WIP.
Absolutely, buddy. Good luck.